Hello everyone, Tesaks here, and welcome to my devlog. Originally I wanted to talk about Game Defenders, but this devlog is pre-recorded, and I will get to that in a minute. But first, what is Game Defenders? Well, it's my story-driven match-free game with tower defense and RPG elements for Android and PC that I've been working on for the last year or so. Wanna know more? Then check this playlist. And now back to the topic. I am currently on the opposite side of Czech Republic without my recording gear, so I pre-recorded this video. And it means that the topic of today's video, as you probably already guessed from the title, is Walker of Aldenor. Walker of Aldenor is a game that I started working on sometimes during early spring of 2019, I think, maybe even a little bit earlier. Of course, this game is already finished and released to the public on Google Play for free, so consider giving it a try as it helps me quite a lot. Walker is about walking. It's an augmented reality game for Android that is rewarding player for walking in real life with resources that can be spent on infrastructure, tools and consumables, which helps with surviving as every now and then player gets attacked by creatures from the surrounding forests. Later on I expanded the game with story, and that's where the player can find out about the name. Walker of Aldenor is the first ever released installment of the story of Aldenor, and player can uncover and resolve pieces of Aldenor's history in this game, as well as to get some hints and points and ideas of what Aldenor is like. Great part of the story will be included in Game Defenders as well as some overarching points, but that's topic for another day. I started developing Walker before I finished puzzle pieces, and to be honest, I was still pretty inexperienced programmer. I had programming classes on my high school and university, but I successfully ignored these and only took the basics. On top of that, what we are being taught here wasn't much, and I covered all that in just about the first tutorial I found online regarding C#. So, just to set this up, it's early 2019 or late 2018. My programming skills are atrocious and I didn't even finish puzzle pieces yet. And I decided to make AR game. What could go wrong? Little to my knowledge, by the time I didn't even have phone that would support game like that, as Stepcounter API got introduced in the later versions of Android. Naturally, the first great challenge occurred the second I realized I can't access Android Stepcounter API with just Unity and C#, which is something, I believe, Unity doesn't support natively to this day. I needed Android Studio and C++ in order to make my own tool that would bridge this gap, but I didn't want to reopen this Pandora box from my past called C++, and frankly I was still employed, so I haven't had much time to work on my two projects, only about 1 to 3 hours, maybe 4 hours on a good day, and only during evening, and it usually meant I would be feeling miserable the next morning as I took this time from my sleep schedule. Given these circumstances, I decided that I will use some existing Unity assets. Back then I was only able to find some paid asset that costed me like $20, I believe, so I happily paid that, installed the asset and started learning how to use it. Naturally, the code on the asset was way above what I knew and understood, so I had to improve my C# skills first. Right after that, I implemented it into Walker, made an Android build, ignored all the warnings about Android version, installed it on my phone, and it crashed. I remember it took me almost a week to realize that my phone with Android 4.1, also known as Jelly Bean, wasn't able to run the app because it hadn't had required Stepcounter API support. So I went back to drawing board and created my own Stepcounter in Unity with just accelerometer. About the only thing that was available to be used. And it worked as long as the game was running and in focus. I won't bore you with details. Long story short, I implemented both solutions, the API access and my own Stepcounter into the game. I had learned how to add system version related conditions, but in the end I made it work, and by coincidence I managed to get my hands on phone with newer versions of Android by the time I was finished, which meant that for the first time I was able to start fully testing the game. And everything went fine for a while until I realized I will need better way of saving game progress than Unity player prefs. And I only knew about two ways to do that by the time. First was remote server with cloud solution, which was and still is out of my budget, and local JSON save file. So naturally I went with local JSON save file, and it worked, but was a little bit wonky. I had issues with Android builds. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it glitched, progress was getting resetted randomly, and it took me, wait for it, 2 whole months to set it up properly. Keep in mind, I still had only about 1 to 3 hours a day, and I had no experience with JSON and file saves, and I had no experience with Android permissions. In the end, I reworked it to use JSON string that's saved in Unity's player prefs instead, and I cleaned all the code. And I also created proper manifest file, so the game stopped resetting itself randomly by that time. And stable functions worked just fine, which meant I was able to proceed and started working on UI, inventory system and similar stuff for the first time. And of course, I hard-coded every single bit of the inventory and all the items. Which means that to this day, inventory script is about 17,500 lines. And I wrote all of them. I will skip all the minor trouble like getting accurate system time and math issues I encountered, and I will fast forward to the February 12th of 2021. That's when Walker of Aldenor got released. Initially it was all fine, but I quickly got reported by many people that the game is randomly crashing on Android 10 Plus. And all I had and all I have to this day is device with Android 4.1 and Android 9. Which means I am out of luck. I asked Rastio, who is my, let's call it colleague in game dev, to help me, as he in fact owns phone with Android 10, but he was only able to confirm it's really happening. I needed phone with Android 10 badly, but since by that time I already founded Tesaks Entertainment and had to leave my job, I haven't had stable income and I couldn't just buy it. And I hear ya, a virtual Android device, and that's where another wave of frustrations came in. Just a year prior I built new computer. I think. I don't remember correctly, but I think it was a year prior to that. Maybe it was the same year. I don't know. Anyway, I built a new computer specifically with virtualization, game development, gaming, video production and rendering in mind. And I invested about 45,000 Czech crowns into it. By today money, it's $1,900 or 1,800 euros, but that's money before COVID hit hard. And just to give you an idea, I made about 25,000 Czech crowns per month while I was working and employed. But since I founded my own company, I'm making 0 Czech crowns per month to this day. And for the first time I almost quitted game development that day. I tried virtualization of Android device on my computer. I built my computer on AMD Ryzen with direct support for virtualization. I made goddamn sure it was all compatible with virtualization. Graphics card, memories, motherboard, everything worked fine, everything was compatible. And Android Studio, which was and I guess is still the most reliable place to test Android apps, had no support for AMD CPUs. It took me weeks to find workaround. All that while people were messaging me that the game is crashing. I was told that I am not doing enough and I abandoned the just released game as well as that my game is poop. I understand. Well, I found workaround and it was all for nothing as the game worked perfectly fine on virtualized Android 10. No crashes, nothing. And to this day, I have no idea how to fix it. But I do know that the issue is in the asset I bought. And honestly, I just gave up. There will be a day that I will make a new AR game and I will use my own solution. But until that day, I am not able to do anything about it. Why? Because I will use that my own solution to repair or fix Walker of Aldenor. Besides this issue, there is the whole Android thing with versions and Android's API levels. Google Play requires you to set up compatibility by Android version, but compatibility is dictated by API level of Android. So it's possible to get Android 10 with API 16, but API 16 is API of Android 4.1. But for the user, it literally looks like Android 10. But my game won't show up on Google Play for that person, as I set up that the lowest supported Android version is Android 6.0, and I do receive emails about this issue from time to time as well, but I'm literally unable to do anything about it. And this, my friends, is just a quick glimpse into the nightmare that was and still is development of Walker of Aldenor. I didn't abandon the game, and I do have plans to fix it and finish the last expansion for it. But that is task for future Tesak that's in position where time and money isn't an issue, which for me right now is quite a great challenge. I still like the game. I'm not gonna lie, I never created a game I wouldn't like. I'm just incredibly frustrated with it, and I also burned myself out of the development of this game more than once. Also, the game never really was any popular on Google Play, only being installed on 5 devices right now. I can't blame the people. In comparison, puzzle pieces which is installed on almost 30 devices right now, it makes no sense to invest time into this game right now, as even if I fixed it, Google Play probably won't ever show it to anyone. But hey, it's free to play game without any microtransactions, and the only way to monetize it for me is that I added button that will play sponsored ads. So if you wanna support me or like the idea of Walker of Aldenor, feel free to install the game and maybe watch a few ads. And by the way, last week I challenged you to do a bug hunt. Did you found any bugs in your projects and did you fix them? Let me know in the comments. And since I shared the story of my worst project ever, let me know, do you have some projects that you poured your soul and heart into and then it all flopped? I think it would be interesting to discuss this with other people in comments or on my Discord server. That's my challenge for you guys this week. Just face it, think about it, discuss it with others and take a lesson from it, learn from it. But now it's time to end this video. All the usual links to my released games, Instagram, Facebook and Discord server are in description. Be sure to check this out to join me on my game dev journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching and until next Monday, see ya!